Immigrant Punk, yeah. So I don't know. He has some other very good songs, and there's some great videos as well that he's done. Like, he's a fairly mad character. I think I find him a fairly mad character anyway.
Cool, yeah. Just as to mention as well, folks, one of the reasons, or how myself and Andrew became friends, is through a shared experience we have of hearing voices. Traditionally, when people say that they hear voices, a lot of people will go, hearing voices, you mean like in your imagination? And well, it's hard to describe really, but we do hear voices, and we have a shared experience of hearing voices. And I actually started an organisation back in 2006 for people who hear voices called Hearing Voices Ireland, and we have a website, www.voicesireland.com, and we support people who hear voices around Ireland. It is quite a common problem, and it's lots of different ways of looking at it, and lots of different experiences, and even our experiences. Well, we have some
similarities. I think we found. I suppose with hearing voices, it's been a very positive experience for me. I know that a lot of people have very negative experiences, but I think for Brian it's been quite a positive experience as well, from what he seems to say. And I suppose it's I find the whole world of hear voices and so on fascinating area. And I suppose I've just become interested in it because like voices came to me, I don't know, by surprise, and about 10 years ago, and I suppose I spent the last 10 years like learning about it and trying to find out about it, and I suppose in some ways not really finding answers, as so much is unknown in all of this area. And
a lot of it is really finding out your own way of dealing with it and living with it, isn't it?
That's pretty much it.
It's what works for you, like.
Yeah. I suppose I'd be interested in it in terms of like mysticism and imagery, and I suppose artistically as well. I suppose when you look at the transpersonal psychology, they say that all the experiences that people have in terms of voice hearing and seeing images and dreams and things like that are very important. These experiences are more important than what goes on in the mundane life. So I suppose I'd be very interested in it from that perspective, and I feel there's a lot more to be done, because it's a fascinating world.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people have come to the realisation that there is actually value in what the voices say, and it's very much now seen by a majority of people as actually being part of you, and as such that it's very relevant what the voices have to say. And if you try and ignore the voices or pretend they're not there or block them out, it's a bit like denying a part of you, isn't it?
It is really. I suppose the thing about it is to try. I suppose if you're having these sorts of experiences, is to try and make yourself comfortable, and I suppose as much as possible to try and enjoy your life and enjoy yourself. I know people find it very hard and very challenging, and I know there's a lot of mental health problems around the country at the moment and all around the world, I suppose. But the thing to do is to try and deal with it and try and get on with it as best as possible.
And we were just talking there a while ago about the possibility of maybe your voices, the music that you've chosen tonight, it being multicultural and stuff like that. Do your voices in any way reflect the multiculturalism of your musical interests? Or
my voices haven't really, but I know personally with hearing the voices, I spent like quite a lot of time, say, out around North Clare, around Clare, I suppose, in general, and I would have like driven around, listening to music and listening to voices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I suppose they would have had some influence in it, but I don't know. The music not so much, and film not so much. I suppose we differ in that respect.
Yeah. My voice is. I was saying that they tend, like, for example, if I was to listen to classical music, the people that would be talking to me, the voices that would be talking to me, would kind of have an interest in classical music.
Yeah.
Not entirely. Like, maybe you would get some other people who would be kind of going, well, I don't really like classical music, but this is kind of interesting. But sometimes I feel almost like I'm introducing particular voices to different styles of music, you know?
Yeah.
Like I when I'm sitting at home playing music, it's almost like I'm DJing, you know. It's almost like I've got a permanent radio show in my head, you know.
Well, I don't know about that. I suppose everyone's experience is different.
It is, yeah.
It's fair, but I don't know. I suppose with voices, what I found with the voices is that they're hyper realistic, and but I don't know. They have kind of shown me things that what I kind of found myself doing is going off and researching what they've said. And I found out the things to be true. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the whole thing works. But certainly, I've gone around talking to different people. I got very interested in the area of mysticism, to trying to understand and because there's so much imagery and so much like explanations through the voices.
It's so rich. Like.
It's so rich, yeah. And I suppose I'd be a bit interested by I suppose maybe 200 years ago. The experience of voice hearing would really have been dealt with by the church and not by the psychiatric hospitals. And before that, in the centuries before that, people who heard voices were considered closer to God, and not as today, where it's considered as a mental illness. And I suppose,
by some,
yeah, and by some, and I suppose where I would have a bit of there'd be a bit of a kind of an internal struggle between what kind of officialdom says about it and what
you feel,
what I feel about it, and then I suppose looking at things like transpersonal psychology, psychologists like Jung and different things like that. When you read about their experiences of it, it's a totally different world. So I suppose it depends where you look.
Well, from my point of view, I see it in terms of mind, body, and soul, mental, physical, and spiritual experience. And we must actually come back to this again sometime. I haven't really dealt with this issue too much on the show. It's been mostly music, and we did have a girl on one time talking about bipolar disorder. I have a kind of a background in mental health. I ended up working in mental health, but basically, if you have an interest in voices and voice hearing, again, the website is www.voicesireland.com. I can be contacted through there, and we'll get back to the music.
Very good, very good.
So the next track is Asian Dub Foundation.